Okay, we're here at Gus's Pretzels, which is at the corner of Lemp and Arsenal down in South St. Louis, and they're going to celebrate their 100th anniversary next year.
And that's Centennial, is that it?
Centennial, yes
okay.
it is.
Spell that? No, just kidding, go ahead.
Centennial.
Very good,
Centennial. Okay. And great pretzels. I'd suspect that most St. Louisans have had a Gus's pretzel at some time. It's pretty iconic. I know down not far from where I live in Lindenwood Park, they have a guy who sits on Sundays selling pretzels. And I think there's a few other places around town where you can find a Gus's pretzel outside of the factory here.
Now, do you put cheese on it or do you not?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
You coat it with cheese?
Why not? The more
Up
cheese,
until the very end? I mean, at the very end?
Sure, dip it. Dip it in cheese.
And then lick your fingers?
Of course. Well, how else are you going to clean your fingers?
It's almost like a caveman attitude, you know?
Well,
Ooh,
yeah.
me, tiger, me, oh, eat.
Yeah, well, you know, have some barbecue and some Gus's pretzel. And then maybe some Ted Drews afterwards. You're living the St. Louis dream.
Agreed, agreed. And then one thing I do like, it says Willkommen. And jawohl, ik spreche Deutsch. Aber nicht so
German.
gut. Jawohl.
I speak Russian.
Yes. I mean, it's in life, especially in St. Louis, there's only like probably 1%, less than 1% of people that speak German, or 1% people that speak Ukrainian.
Except for the other Russians.
Oh, well, that's true. That's true.
In Russian it'd be Добро пожаловать. Welcome.
Willkommen. You know, it's always important, I think, to learn a different language. So your youngsters out there, if you're in 7th or 6th grade, what are you doing up so late, for one? But two, learn a different language. It's Spanish, French, German, and stick with it, because your brains, I think kids' brains are molded, and it is easier for them to learn a language.
Well, it's easier to learn a third language if you learn a second one, because then your brain says, for example, the word door. Well, in Russian it's dvor and dvir, and you know, there's just different languages, different. Once your brain accepts that a word, an object can be different words, and depending on the language, it'll more easily accept Spanish, which I think is port, right, in Spanish. The word
well,
door.
you said tour. T umlaut R. Oh, T-U-R with the umlaut. Tour.
Aha, right.
Es ist ein Tour.
Okay. But so let's talk to Gus. You know, we're here. Let's talk to the guy.
Hey.
He'll tell us how to make a pretzel.
Wait a second, this is Centennial. It can't be the same person that established this pretzel.
Well, let's ask him.
All right. Well, we're going to go inside where it's air conditioned, which is nice. And Ed Brown, you have anything to say at this time?
Let's say it inside.
All right. We'll be there in a minute.
We're at Gus's Pretzels, and this is Gus.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm third generation pretzel twister. My grandfather started about 1920. Next year will be our 100th year anniversary.
100th anniversary.
So we're making some plans, trying to come up with some ideas for a way to celebrate.
This is where you make all the dough.
Right, rolling in dough every day.
Well, tell us, you know, a little history of the place. Has it been here the whole 100 years?
No, the one place next door, it's like a roll house. My grandfather bought in 1943. When he originally started, he just made them in his basement. He could have cottage industries back then, so he would make just enough and go out and sell them himself at parks and taverns, or walk through the brewery or whatever. Then he started making them for other peddlers, and he had a little shop down on 3rd and Lesburn, which is down where Monsanto is, down near the Queenie plant. So,
You still have some of those peddlers around.
Oh yeah, 1940 they blighted that area, so he bought the building next door and started making pretzels in it. And then my brother and I added on this section 1998.
Gotcha. How many pretzels do you make in a year?
A year? I don't know. I would guess 7,000-8,000 a day.
Oh my goodness.
So it'd take you from here to the moon and back.
Right.
8,000 times.
We did the arch thing where how many pretzels it take to hit the top of the arch. So
How many will it take?
I don't remember.
A lot.
I'd have to figure it out again.
Jeez. Well, you got a great facility here. You got some of the best pretzels. you don't really have much competition. There aren't anybody moved in and said, well, we are now the best pretzels or whatever.
Well, we're here the longest. We've got what we call a St. Louis pretzel. There are other places that have been opening up over the past couple years, and one will say it's Philadelphia style, one will say it's New York style, but we just stick with our same thing. All we can control is our own destiny. So,
have you ever changed your formula?
No.
All right.
We've tried different things, but we always come back to the original.
Which is
and
the
people
original.
seems like it. Oh, that's top secret. I don't want to. I need you to sign some
told you,
papers
you'd
for a
have to
lawyer.
carry it.
I need my lawyer here first.
Oh, no. Where's the lawyer? But I got to tell you.
Well, we love it. It
place-
smells great. And,
Well, I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, remember, come to Pretzel. Come
Yeah, it's
here,
a great
Gus's.
family tradition.
Yep. Corner of Arsenal and Limp.
Yes,
Arsenal up. The brewery's right next to us, guys.
That's right.
yes. I always like it, the brewery's next to you, not you're next to the brewery.
Yeah, that's why they put the brewery there.
Oh, great.
Well, what's better than a beer
Believe
and
that one? I got more stories.
beer and a pretzel? I mean,
Yeah.
what goes together better than that?
Pretzels go with anything.
Pretzels go with anything.
But you don't serve beer here yet.
No, root beer.
Root beer.
We have the
Oh,
Fitz's root beer.
Okay.
So try and stick with St. Louis products.
Oh, there you go. Be St. Louis,
Another
authentic.
great St. Louis product.
All right. Ed, anything else to add?
No, we're happy you invited us, and
Yes.
thank you for
Thanks
letting
for
us
coming by and listening.
Yeah, we really
I
enjoyed
appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you.
I got to tell you.
Nice to
And
meet you.
we'll be coming back here.
Oh, great.
So
Yeah.
remember Gus's Pretzels when they're
Right,
out and
pretzel.
about.
Yeah.
Eat some pretzels. Yes.
Eat more pretzels.
Eat more pretzels. Eat more pretzels. Eat more pretzels. Hey, I got a new jingle for you.
Well, we're trying to come up with a new advertising campaign, so I'll keep that in mind.
It's on the back burner.
That'll be $50,000.
Retainer.
Maybe I won't keep that one.
Well, thanks again.
We
Appreciate
pay in pretzels. So.
We appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gus. Hurt in a car wreck or hurt on the job? Call Brown & Brown now for a risk-free consultation. In Missouri, dial all 3s. In Illinois, dial all 8s.
Questions? We'll answer them for you, risk-free. At Brown & Brown, we'll fight for you and your legal rights.
We only get paid if you collect. So if you've been injured in a car wreck or hurt on the job, call Brown & Brown now. In Missouri, dial all 3s. In Illinois, dial all 8s.
And at Brown & Brown, if you can't come to us,
We'll come to you.
okay, we're at Viviano's on the Hill, which is one of my favorite places. It's just the smell of it. It smells like olives and cheese and prosciutto. This is fantastic.
Which is why something needs a little bit of a...
I actually live on the hill, and everybody asks me, how long ago did you move here? And I always tell them 25 pounds ago. So,
Pretty astute.
yeah, it's much the truth.
But a couple things about Viviano's. Was it John Viviano?
The father.
The father. No, that's the grandfather, wasn't it? No.
Yeah, I guess the grandfather.
Grandfather,
now.
and he married Angeletta, I believe, and they lived 50 years. How many times do you have anybody 50-year anniversary, wedding anniversary?
Not often.
I mean, it used to be quite often, yes, but now
Yeah,
it's a disposable society. If it doesn't work out, let's just get rid of it. Anyway, 50 years they were here, and I think he passed. Both of them have passed.
Yeah.
But then now they got the grandchildren running the show. Nick, and who's the other fellow? Was it
Tony.
John? Or was it Tony? Okay. And Viviano's, I gotta tell you, if you can't find it here, I don't think you can find it anywhere. Would you
You're
agree?
looking for good Italian food. They have a deli. You can get a sandwich at lunchtime, or you can buy, package of cheese or ham or whatever you want. It's a real nice atmosphere.
Can you walk here from your house?
Yeah,
Oh.
I can. Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh. And it's all, the jarred. I remember when Pearl Market in Alton, and this is I'm not going to show my age, but it is probably about 1973, 74, we used to go in up there. And they had a similar store there.
Layout, yeah.
And you always remember the wooden stores, kind of like Barrel Barts in Spanish Lake. For all you Spanish Lakers, Barrel Barts always had the wooden floor. And I always remember my mom, we'd go to the deli or the meat, what do you call it,
Counter.
display, yes. And Mr. Ballbart used to give me a sausage. And I'd have one of those little sausages, and I said, "Mommy, I want more." And she said, "No, that's enough." But those are the old time stores, and I'm not saying that this is old time or anything, because it's vibrant and everything else. But if you can't find it at one of the other grocery stores, come on in here.
Well, if you want specialty Italian food, this is the place to get it. They have their own sauces, they have their own olive oil,
That's true.
have wine, their own wine,
They have their own meat sauce.
own meat sauce.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna buy a bottle of that or a jar of that, and I'm gonna put it to the test.
And the smells are free.
It smells. Oh, that's a good point.
The aroma, the Italian food aroma is free.
But isn't it? 50 years ago, if we were here, it'd still be a vibrant place and everything else and everything. I don't wonder how much it changed in the last 50 years. The anchor, of course, was the Catholic Church.
Sure, St. Ambrose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the only Catholic church around here, basically, wasn't it?
Well, you used to have St. Aloysius, but that closed 25 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is Monsignor still at there?
Monsignor Bomarito is still in charge of St. Ambrose.
Yeah.
Saw him there last Sunday. He's doing fine.
You went to Mass
And
on
then
Sunday?
you go to Milo's across the street, or we can't say their name anymore, the other place, because they,
Oh,
it was a cease and desist order.
no, it was not. Come on.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Come on.
Amagetti's. They told them they can't use the name.
Oh, that's right. This is
Crazy, but that's the way it is.
They can't use the name.
Yeah, they had to
Amagetti's
change
anymore?
it to the Dominic's place. Dominic's.
you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
Ah, that's too bad. Well, anyway, this is the place to be. What else can we say? We got Italy. We can show you everything, a poster of Italy, where to go and where not to go. And I've had the fortune to have gone to Italy 3 or 4 times. And one of the best places I ever ate was by the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And it does lean. I mean, and it was just a little hole-in-the-wall restaurant. Oh my gosh, they had the best pasta. And they'd usually have like 5 courses. You'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is for lunch. My belly was almost as full as that.
Well, that's what you do when you're in Italy. You eat. Yeah. And this is a little bit of Italy in St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Ed Brown, attorney at Brown & Brown. A lot of people have asked me why I wear an eye patch. Well, when I was young, I hurt my eye, and that's why I wear a patch. I know what it is like to overcome a lifelong injury. So if you've been hurt in a car wreck, on the job or elsewhere, give Brown & Brown a call. In Missouri, dial all 3s, 333-3333. In Illinois, dial all 8s, 888-8888. And remember, at Brown & Brown, if you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
Hello, and here we are at Hallowed Grounds. Well, what hallowed grounds are these? Well, this is where the old arena used to be, right here behind us. And Ed,
Standing at center ice.
and what was the arena? What did it mean for you?
Place to see concerts when it was the Checker Dome in the 70s. I saw the Rolling Stones here.
1982.
Yeah, something like 81,
November-
82.
81.
Something like
All
that.
right, go ahead.
And we saw a lot of hockey games here. Dad
Oh, yes.
take us to the games. We had season, like a quarter season ticket, something
I think
like
something.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we'd all choose which game we got to go to. We all wanted to go see the Bruins because they were really good then, with Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito and Gary Cheevers.
Yeah,
And this is, we'd be inside right now.
and
Be a
air
lot less
conditioning.
sunny.
Oh, they didn't have air conditioning. I remember I went and saw. Think, Dan.
We saw
And-
Led Zeppelin here.
Well, Led Zeppelin, but that was in February, so it wasn't too bad. Doggone it.
April,
Hagar.
That was in April, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was April,
Yeah.
so it wasn't too hot, I guess. But no, concerts, and speaking of concerts, what do you think I have? I have some old concerts. My brother. Memorabilia. What is this? This is the Led Zeppelin poster from, Ed, help me out. What's the date?
April of 77.
April 15th, 1977.
Tax day.
And I was there with Michael Evans and Kenny Weeks. No, Michael Evans, and Kenny Weeks.
You skipped school to get tickets.
We did. It was like in February. And, but anyway, it's a momentum, I guess you could say.
How was the show?
It was good. I'm going to tell you what, a quick story. So we had behind the stage tickets. And we're like, behind the stage? And as soon as they came on, we're like, let's get the heck out of here. And Michael Evans and Kenny Weeks and I knew how to get down to Parquet. So I'm sitting, all the steps were taken. So I'm sitting right there by Parquet. And what happened was some girl, five in, started throwing up all over the place. So they all left. And of course, I scooted right there.
They saw it as a problem. You saw it as an opportunity.
I was stomping on her vomit the entire concert.
Great.
And but it was worth it, I guess. I mean, it started smelling at the end. But what else can I tell you? Well, here, Ed, you hold this.
Oh boy.
Now I got a couple of trivia questions. I feel like Mr. Rogers all over again. For those of you who don't know who Mr. Rogers is. Yeah.
They made a movie out of his life.
They did.
Tom Hanks.
This is the actual picture of Led Zeppelin when they were doing their, what do they call it when they?
It looked like they were doing what? Going to California.
Yeah, something like that.
Mandolin songs.
And then this one is another Led Zeppelin, and all of a sudden I'm gonna have a trivia contest. This is Blues and Mary TV30. Now, TV30, if you remember, they had those rabbit ears or whatever, and you had to have a certain
UHF.
station. Yeah, yes.
Right.
So, Blues, of course, are St. Louis Blues. Who is Mary? Who is Mary? And everybody always says, well, is it Mary Tyler Moore? No, it's not Mary Tyler Moore. But if you know it, you can call me up, 333-3333, and I will tell you. And what else do we have here, Ed?
Oh, Super Jam.
Oh, here we go. Now this wasn't, I got two of them. Sheesh. This wasn't, of course, at the old arena, but I'll bring it up anyway. This is Super Jam 77. REO, Ted Nugent, Head East, Gypsy, Judas Priest. I remember what day was it? I mean, it was so hot. July 9th, and you had to sit there or stand there the entire concert. Oh man, even as a 14-year-old kid, I got worn out. And then this is Super Jam 78, and what Styx, Blue Oyster Cult, Angel, Eddie Money, and Bob Welch. Bob Welch had just quit Fleetwood Mac, and so he went out on his own.
That was right when they got big too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right before the Rumors album. Bob probably was, missed out on that one. And then, a couple more things. This is the concert at Old Busch Stadium. If you remember, they had all these arches at the top.
And look at, if you see something in there, look, the seats in the sun.
Yeah,
look how fewer people than there are in the shade. They still do that at Busch Stadium. If you go on a hot summer day, you'll see the really nice seats happen to be in the sun, and nobody wants to sit there because it's so hot. So you'll see everybody in the shade.
100% correct. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And well, you got something to show.
Well, this is the last Mad magazine. We're going to mourn you till we join you, Mad. It was announced recently that Mad is going to be no more. So, grew up with Mad. Loved it. I was a nerdy current events kid, so I knew all the movies that came out, I knew all the news, and of course Mad would parody all that.
What was the best parody you had? Starluck?
The Poop Side Down Adventure. Poseidon Adventure. Very funny, yeah. Yeah, there are all sorts of we'd always look forward to getting mad after a big movie came out because, we want to see what their take on it was. And their drawings are always first rate. Jack Davis is the artist on this cover. He's a great artist. Mort Drucker, he's a fantastic artist. And it's mad's fun.
I was on an airline not too long ago, and I got my the Munsters on. Okay,
Oh boy.
I'm watching the Munsters, and the guy, like, I'm sitting
Must have been
here.
a second-rate airline to have the Munsters. A
No.
60-year-old TV
I'm
show.
playing it off the.
I see. On your
my PDF.
personal tablet.
So
Gotcha.
anyway, I'm watching it, and the guy right behind me keeps laughing and laughing and laughing, and I'm like, is this guy stealing my view? And sure enough, he goes, hey man, can I watch it too? I said, I guess, I don't know. And
I guess he was making up his own dialogue.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
well
Couldn't
no,
hear it, right?
I guess not, but he was
Yeah.
still laughing like crazy. Oh, speaking of the Munsters,
Very visual show.
what do you know? Do I have a Munsters? I do! Ah! I know it's kind of wimpish, but I still have the Munsters lunchbox. And, I have the thermos as
Oh
well.
boy, that makes it worth a lot of dough.
Oh, I think it's probably not worth anything, but
And what might this be?
what is this? Oh! Ed, you know who that is.
I do. That's Eddie Munster.
Butch Patrick.
Yep.
So I go out, we have a law office in Illinois office, and it's just almost walking distance, and they have a comedy club there. And it's only open like on Saturdays and Sundays. So Butch Patrick was coming. I said, what the heck, I'll go and see Butch Patrick. So I go to Butch, nobody knows who he is, I don't know what happened. 2 weeks
He
later,
was only in one show. I mean,
what's that?
he was only in one show.
Well,
It's-
2 weeks later, Cindy Brady almost sold out, so who knows?
who'd have thunk it?
But anyway, so Butch Patrick, so I said, hey, Butch, good to meet you. And he goes, hey, would you like to have a picture? I said, sure. So we took a picture, and he goes, well, that'll be $20. So I said, uh-oh. I said, sure, it's worth it. Just for
Should've
Butch
charged
Patrick.
him.
Oh, come on. But Munsters, I got to tell you, for younger people, if you've never watched the Munster episodes, do it. What do they call it when they keep going and going and going? They're like
Binge watching?
binge watching. You can tell I'm hip and cool. Binge
Yeah.
watching. So binge watch the Munsters, and then what else do I have here?
Fall over laughing.
Oh,
Well, Blues Brothers.
This is all because of the arena. God bless the arena. This is the Blues Brothers. I saw them in concert, believe it or not. I don't know how long ago it was. It was, I remember, it was in Chicago.
John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Yeah.
And boy, that was a long time ago. That was like 78,
Well,
79.
John Belushi died in '82, so.
So it was before that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, Belushi, I don't know if he was,
I think his brother Jim, didn't he?
yeah, he did
stand
it.
in? Yeah.
He did. He did indeed.
Yeah.
So this is memory lane, all because the arena was once here,
right.
here, and now grass.
We had center ice, and now we have center grass.
Anything else you can add, see, Edward?
Nah, it's a good time. It always smelled like old beer,
Oh, yes, that's true.
sweat, men's room odors. It was not a very. We came from a place with great aroma. That place did not have a good aroma.
I remember you go in the bathrooms, and people were throwing up everywhere and everything else, and you couldn't even find a stall to,
Yeah,
do
the
your
poor
stuff.
ladies only had like 2 stalls, so there'd be a huge line outside
That's true.
outside their ladies' room.
Boy, and everything was sticky too.
Everything was sticky,
Oh.
creaky.
And if you
All the
went,
metal would creak as you walked on it. Felt
And
like
if
it was going to collapse at any moment.
if you went all around the circumference, there was one section that was like only 3 wide you could get through, and it'd always back up. I mean, it
It wasn't
wasn't.
built for cattle shows. It wasn't built for
Oh.
hockey. It just happened to be turned into a hockey arena. And cows were much more appropriately accommodated there than people
people.
were. Yeah.
Look at this Hefner. This cow is worth $5,000. Hefner? Or?
Heifer.
Heifer. All right.
Hugh Hefner. No, that's
Yeah,
wrong.
okay.
Yeah,
That's-
okay.
God bless his soul, too, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
where,
right.
where are we going to go from here? Where are we going to go from here?
Only the television dial knows, so keep watching.
But keep on rocking and rolling. I'm always at concerts. I just saw
Yeah.
Blue Oyster Cult, and I saw what was it? Justin Hayward from the Moody Blues just
Yeah.
last Sunday. I still like going to concerts. So if you ever see me, you can say, "Hey, man, you really do go to these shows." Yes, one punctured eardrum later, caused by the Led Zeppelin concert. It's
Yeah.
not punctured, but it's on the cusp. No
Well-
more ringing in the ears.
No, the arena's not here anymore, so we can't sue them. So,
Well, wait a second
We're,
here.
all right, let's get rolling.
All right. From Brown and Brown, goodbye from the old arena.
Yay.
Ah! Bah. All right. At Brown and Brown, our phone numbers are easy to remember. In Missouri, dial all 3s. In Illinois, dial all 8s. So if you've been in a car wreck or hurt on the job, call Brown and Brown for a risk-free consultation.
At Brown & Brown, we'll give you the personal attention that you deserve. We only get paid if you collect. So if you've been in a car wreck, hurt on the job, call us now for a risk-free consultation.
In Missouri, dial all 3s. In Illinois, dial all 8s.
And at Brown & Brown, if you can't come to us,
We'll come to you.
We're at Uncle Bill's Pancake House, right at the corner of Kings Highway and Potomac. And everybody knows Uncle Bill's. I mean,
That's true.
we've been coming here. I was in law school and I studied for the bar exam at Uncle Bill's. It's open 24 hours. Incidentally, if you're watching this at 4 in the morning and you're hungry, come on by. It's a great place to eat.
It's 24/7?
24/7.
24/7, for goodness sakes. And
Yep.
what do I know about Uncle Bill's? I think it started in 1961.
60 years almost.
That's almost as old as I am.
You're
Almost.
getting pretty old.
No, not at
Oh,
all.
yeah.
I'm my youthful appearance. And we
Yeah.
got all the traffic here and everything else, but no, Uncle Bill Pancake House, if you ever are up this late, or even during the daytime, for goodness sakes, come on down.
Yep.
It's a nice place to eat,
Been
friendly
here.
atmosphere,
Been here many, many times.
and
always
we will,
have a good time.
We will continue onward, and now where are we going to go next?
To the Hill,
To the hill?
my favorite place
We
in
already
St. Louis.
visited the hill.
We're going back. More to see.
All right, we'll do. Well, somebody's been patiently waiting for us, and thank you very much. And adios from now, but don't change the channel! No! All right.